Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's edition of Press R. Never, never again. Manyo people in Yaoundé echoed the voices of many Cameroonians to vehemently condemn the November 6 Ekweko attack that left close to 30 people dead and much property destroyed in Mamfe. July this year, a 2-year-old boy survived a plane crash in Sudan that killed over 100 passengers on board. The mudslide at Bankolo in Yaoundé on October the 8th, 2023 that left over 30 people dead spared the life of a 1-month-old baby. That is how nature protects children when they are left on their own. But what happened in Mamfe? You pull people out of their houses, including children, shatter their bodies with bullets and char some of them with fire. And what is worse, display their bodies on social media. Social media is still difficult to control in our society, and Cameroon played host to an international forum on social media regulation. Our focus on Press R today will be attempting to answer the question, why is it difficult to regulate social media in Cameroon? And to talk about these two topics, we comment on the first and focus on the second. We have the following guest. Ngala Desmond. Ngala is a consultant on social media use. We are pleased to have you on Press R set today.
Thank you, Killian. The pleasure is mine to be here once more.
Yes, and we share that pleasure and meet Ivor Babila Nyamdi, who is a digital forensic expert. Ivor, we are always happy to have you here because your participation, your interventions here on forensics, on social media, on internet use, on cybercrime are always welcome and very educative to our public. Thank you for accepting our invitation again.
Thank you, Killian. I am very happy to be here again and ready to help our multitude of viewers around the world.
Yes, thank you very much again. Let us introduce to you Dr. Winfred Mfu, who is a technical advisor and telecommunications expert in the Ministry of Post and Telecommunications. Mr. Dr. Winfred Mfu, you are the supervisory authority of what is telecommunications. At least you represent the ministry, we should understand it as such. Welcome on Press R, and we just hope that you're going to help our viewers know where we are with regulation of social media in Cameroon and exactly what the ministry is doing. It will be of interest to all of us. Thank you once again for coming.
It is my pleasure, Killian.
Emmanuel von Ban is the publisher of Astute Inc., an IT practitioner. Astute Inc., his newspaper is mostly online, and he knows exactly what happens online, and he uses social media and even tracks social media misuses. You're going to meet some of them in the roles that I just introduced to you, ladies and gentlemen. Let us start the program with press review. Emanuela Vemni read the newspapers for us, and here is what she came up with.
The week ending began with bloodshed in Mamfe, and the papers stayed true to their obligations. The nation is in shock over barbaric killings in Mamfe in the Guardian Post, as suspected Amber fighters kill over 20, injure many, and set houses ablaze in Ebeko in Cameroon Tribune, thereby igniting all-out anger over unending barbarity in Cameroon Insider. A massacre unpardonable in Municipal Updates. Cameroon Tribune lacks words to qualify the horror, thus making Manu to celebrate Bia's 41st anniversary in fire, blood, and tears in the median. Yet Bia condemns the massacre and condoles with victims in Municipal Updates. Just when Cameroon Tribune projects light on poor Bia for 41 years of the New Deal government, the good, the bad, and ugly of President Paul Bia's 41 years in power presented in the Guardian Post. Yet calls galore for 90-year-old Bia to seek re-election in Newswatch And as CPDM militants say opposition is dead in Dian in Cameroon Acres, over 200 SDF militants decamped to CPDM in Dian in the horizon. The reporter through this move sees SDF bleeding at Bia's 41st anniversary in power. And as CPDM cripples opposition in Dian in the Guardian Post, CPDM FACO 3 wants more Bia years in volcanic times. The Post newspaper then chronicles Bia's Cameroon at 41 as a sip of champagne for some and vinegar for others, happening when Bamenda denizens blame elites in government for town's abandonment in the Eden. The Northwest Regional Assembly execution is rated at 71% in the horizon, and Yaoundé-Nsimalen Expressway urban section is said to cost 379.5 billion CFA francs in the sun. But the interest of Eco Outlook is on Plantain Transformation Factory to open in Bangem after the festival. The Herald Tribune brings to the fore the stance of African delegates at the Synod of Synodality of the Catholic Church, where homosexuality was described as witchcraft, while outrightly rejecting the ordination of women as deacons in the Catholic Church. The Guardian Post publisher is then arrested over fake cover page of the newspaper and released 10 hours after. Son Bahana, national coach of the Indomitable Lions, named a 24-man squad for the World Cup qualifier matches in Cameroon Tribune. Until I come your way again, this is your Hour with the Press.
Thank you very much, Manuela. Gentlemen, we followed that press review and the Mamfe incident, the very unfortunate incident in Ekweko, Mamfe Emmanuel Division, covered most newspaper headlines. And when it comes on the headlines, it means that right inside you have that developed. And I was talking about children being killed. A child was killed mercilessly in Mamfe, and for those who even read the Bible, you know that in Psalms 91, verse 10 to 11, tells you that God protects children, and Matthew 18:10 tells you that children have guardian angels, which means that whatever happened, no child should be touched because they are innocent. We are not saying that the killing of any person is justified. And talking also about children, the plane crash in Sudan, that was in July this year, only spared one child who was found on 3 branches hanging there by a passers-by and was taken to the hospital, and the child survived. In Bankolo, also in Yaoundé, we had the most light, a child of 1 month, actually 1 month because he was 2-year-old, was spared by nature. Why do people go to kill people, including children? That is what we are talking about, and we are beginning with the incident in Mamfe, in Ekweko, right inside Mamfe 1, I think so. We're beginning with you, Ngala Desmond, condemned as the Mamfe people, the Manyo people gathered and said that it should never happen again. This is to be condemned. So it's barbaric incident, whoever did that.
Exactly. Killian, I think we are of the opinion that time has come when we need to actually even stop condemning and go to actions and bring people to book. We are all humans. There is no need, there is no justification for a person to take another one's life to show and prove a point. And what happened in Mamfe should not even be thought of. It should not even be thought of as a film script. No, actually happen in reality. Some of us are really very touched because we know people who's lost families, people who were actually living and sleeping in their rooms and were pulled out and killed. And the question we are asking, it's a rhetorical question, how long are we going to keep condemning, get out and do public speeches? I think we need to move past that stage now where we're condemning and we're calling on the public. It's not an issue of justifying and proving a point, but human life should not be touched. Property should be spared. Let's actually go through the argument of the pen and put out our grievances and leave it. And if you are one of the supporters of what is happening, we call you actually to desist from this, because this is no more political. It's actually touching human lives, and it's against human rights and every fundamental rule that promotes human beings.
Exactly so, Desmond Gala, Emmanuel Fonban. This cannot be justified under no circumstance. I think you buy that idea.
Yes, Killian, absolutely. It should not be justified. It's very shameful, and or we even take this picture to even the animal kingdom, like a jungle. If you see even the lion, which is considered one of the most dreaded animals that eats other animals, it doesn't touch its species. So if we've gone to that level where people are able to kill other humans, to that level they're even able to kill infants, then I think that we can already be rated beyond animals. I don't know if we want to take over from the devil, because it's very heartless, and I think only someone with a demonic heart, with a heart of a demon or of a devil, can actually consider doing this. And I will remember that this is not the first time that we are condemning this. We've had this on several platforms. I remember I was here on this very platform when the case at the Mother Teresa happened in Kumba, and we are coming back again. Several others have happened, and it's very shameful that we have such humans living among us, and I don't know what continue to give them this audacity to go about this, but
yes,
it's very shameful.
The separatists are blamed for doing this act. That's officially what we have. And if they were the separatists, you just cited that of the lion as the king of the animal kingdom. Why would they kill their own? How do we even explain this type of thing?
This is what I'm actually talking about, and every time we've had this kind of situation happening, I want to look at it beyond political bounds, and I'm looking at like us fellow humans. What should consider a fellow, push a fellow human to actually taking a gun to perpetrating this kind of carnage against another human being. Let's look beyond separatists whatsoever, and let's see us as humans created by the same God, at least around with a beautiful world to enjoy.
Thank you. We're going to allow the development of what we're talking about and the center on what we're talking about. Ivo, when you look at this Mamfe, the last time in Mamfe was burning down of a hospital, another very social facility that keeps human life intact, that makes sure that people, the well-being of people is okay. And again, there, and the coincidence of the date, 6th of November, whatever reason, this should not happen.
Killian, whatever reason, I still repeat, no matter the reason motivating those who did that, is very sad. Be it political, social, cultural, or whatsoever it is, you cannot take off lives that way. And it's very barbaric. So you cannot justify it being a political revendication, the seat of November. There is no reason why you should take people's life because you want to prove something. And believe me, they're your brothers. These guys or whoever did it, they live with those people. Because people did not come from the United States to come and kill our Cameroonians. You understand? So it is very sad just to think about it. To think that you can be with me here, then tomorrow morning, I get up and take your life off. If nature can save children, as we are saying, why should we take their lives away? Whatever the reason, I still repeat, whatever the reason, there is no justification.
Thank you very much. We are coming to you, Dr. Winfred Mfu. Desmond Gala said, what we should go beyond condemning such acts. So we're asking for the forces of law and order, the defense and security forces, to go behind the culprits of this act. I think that should be the next step.
Thank you very much. It is, we are living a world today that is hyper complex, where human life, which has often been sacred, just means nothing to some people. And that it's going around the whole world. Apart from Manfi, you will see what is happening in the Middle East. Go around the world, you will see homicide is beginning to be something that is easy. And when I looked at what happened in Rwanda many years ago, when I looked at what has been happening in Afghanistan, that I've been able to watch and talk with people there, you start wondering, what is it that can motivate a human being to kill another? The level of hatred comes through many different ways. Radicalization can be one. Another one is the use of hard drugs, that the human brain no longer interprets the humanity in us. Until we reconstruct the humanity in us, unfortunately, we will have situations like that happening. But I think the humanity in every human being is there. We suppress it with drugs, we suppress it with hate, we suppress it for either political or whatever reason that we suppress it. But as Emmanuel said here, there's no justification. Even in the animal kingdom, people don't kill their own.
The one question I will ask the four of you: what can we do as Cameroonians to stop this? Not only stop the killing, but stop the crisis. Beginning with you, 1 minute only.
Thank you. Well, for the crisis, it's a very complex thing. But all I always want to say is, the only way that problems are solved is when people talk to one another. Perspectives are always different. People have different perspectives. The fact that you have a perspective doesn't make it right. And for that reason, it is about listening and trying to look at different perspectives of the same situation. What is the problem? And then trying to look for concerted solutions. Because I'll keep taking the example in the Middle East. No matter how many years, it's more than 70 years today, that people have been killing each other, there's no solution. We cannot keep killing each other with the view that it will solve the problems that we have. No. On the contrary, we have seen almost everywhere that when people sit down to discuss, when people look at things, then it has a solution. But no matter whatever, I will say killing should not be any part of the recipe.
Yes, Emma, what should be part of the recipe?
I think I'm very happy that one of the reasons we are here today actually provides part of the solution. We know what social media have been able to do with these conflicts, and I think if we adopt certain measures, but above all, I think that we need to invoke the human compassion in us, and each and every person at every point in time, let us avoid this thing of making people to feel bad, because when you make anybody to feel bad anywhere, especially when you are more powerful than them, you are already pushing them to thinking of going extra miles to making sure that they make sure that they hurt you. Maybe it could be not hurting you directly, but hurting someone closer to us. So let's try to
so what you say
compassion
is that there at one point people just want to seek for notice by harming others. Okay, Ivo.
Killian, looking at the situation, right? If we were writing a formula down and saying what can we use to solve this issue, you will see that the guns have never solved any issue in the world. If you look at all the 70 years of war, 200 years of war, at the end of the war, there is always a sitting dialogue, a discussion that leads to the solution. So if we are looking at it from that angle, you will realize that we need to stop everything about guns and fightings and sit down and discuss.
Okay. Desmond.
Yes, Killian, I think the panel has said it all here. Dialogue is key. We cannot talk of dialogue and put preconditions to dialogue. Let us dialogue. Let us talk and know that perspectives are different. Okay. I would say that we should come down from our high horses of social, economic, and political principles and have dialogue as people, as Cameroonians, and resolve this conflict once and for all, because we don't want another Manfi incident happening in the next days, and we come here to condemn it.
Thank you very much. None of us would like to have it again, as Dr. Winfred said, unfortunately, if we don't sit down to talk, it will come up once and again. And it's at this moment, ladies and gentlemen, that we're going to go into our focus on Press Hour today. And we are looking at why is it difficult to regulate social media. Social media, as Ima also told you, is part of what is aggravating the situation by propagating the type of messages that advance hate speech, violence, and the guns are moving and chattering around. Now, why is social media use difficult to regulate? That is our question, and we're going to look at the power of social media. We're going to start with you, who actually at the Ministry of Post and Telecommunications, you are part of the supervision of telecommunications use in Cameroon. Mr. Dr. Winfred Fru, what is the power that social media has?
I think, to put it in very simple terms, the power of social media is to infinity. Social media has the power to multiply everything close to infinity. I'll take, for example, what social media does on the negative side is it multiplies whatever we were doing, because social media itself doesn't create rumors. We grew up, rumor is part of human life. And what social media does is simply amplifies that beyond the local environment. For example, in the good old days without social media, if I start a gossip here, it might only end up in the neighborhood in which I am. But today you start a gossip, it's all over the whole world in seconds. It's quick, it's big, it multiplies it by factors almost close to infinity. That's how powerful the social media is. And on the good side, it is the same. We have seen so many people, let's take the case of small young artists who is so brilliant in their neighborhood, but because someone identifies them and put them on social media, it multiplies it by 100-fold and they become celebrities in less than no time. So the power of social media is so critical. And that's why when something is so powerful, regulation is needed.
Yes, we'll come to regulation. Thank you very much for telling us at that level. We are still at that level of the power of social media. Ivo, who are digital forensic expert, you know that when it comes to crime, social media can go as fast as you can imagine.
Yes, Killian. Excuse me. The social media actually was created for communication. It's like a different world where you go and communicate with your family and your friends and everything. The same like the physical world out there. There are criminals there waiting for you. And as we say, this power is as powerful as me talking to you. If you think about communication as a single word, you understand how powerful social media is. Now, I'll take you one example. We are here today, I can talk to you easily like this. But in those days, I will not talk to you easily like this if there was no phone, if there was no Facebook, if there was no WhatsApp. But today, it has become so easy that you are as close to me as my phone. So if I have any information to send out, it is very easy. I just need to pick up my phone, go onto any social media. There are so many people talk of Facebook, but there are so many. And post anything I want to post.
It is thanks to that social media, Facebook and others, that so many people around the world are watching us live right now.
Exactly.
So as you said, that is one of the good uses of social media. Yes, Desmond Ngala, you are a consultant on social media use, the power of social media. We are still on that.
Exactly. I would say it's, Doctor said it's close to infinity, and I agree to that in total. We've seen not only the good that the social media has done, but we've seen also the bad and the ugly. And one thing I want to say here is that the social media does not create itself, so it amplifies what has been created in the society. And when we create it and put it out there on the social media, it has the power of instantaneously putting it across continents in a very single way. But also, remember that social media shapes perceptions. The people who think, who live, who eat and sleep on social media, which means the more you see, the more you get connected to these platforms, the more you begin to think that everything you see there is true. And we've seen the consequences of this. So yes, as social media is a good connector for communities, for people to actually stay in touch with others, it also has its bad sides of it. And that's why we're advising people to be careful, to think before they click on
Thank you
social
very
media.
much, Emma. We are on the power of social media. Something to add to the three speakers before you?
Yeah, Kilian, for me, I just always believe that social media took us Africans by surprise. Like, it just came boom. And before everyone noticed, they discovered that even in your local, even in your quarter, even in your calaboose house, you can be able to show how great you are anywhere in the world, and you can be able to portray yourself in another level. So that desperation actually, I think that is actually putting people to dimensions and making them to actually, in fact, they have decided to be driving recklessly without understanding or seeing the need to respect road signs and so on. So,
thank you very much. And we had an international forum that took place in Cameroon over the week, and it was on the regulation of social media. We talked to the National Communication Council President, Mr. George Bonkan Kalabukse, and we've also asked him what is the impact, the power of social media. Now, we're going to ask him other questions, but that is the first question he has to answer, the impact of social media on our society.
The social media is followed more than any other media organ in Cameroon today. If we take the example of what we had a couple of years back, 5-6 years ago, about less than 10% of Cameroonians were open or were connected to the social media. About 3 years ago, the figure moved to about 15%. Today, we have about 40 to 45% Cameroonians who are hooked up to the social media and who consult, who have access to the social media daily, if not hourly, if not every minute. And this figure is growing very fast. So a publication of online publication is very, very present. And there are so many people, especially the younger people, who don't have time to watch television or listen to the radio or read newspapers. All they do is to consult the social media for whatever things they want to do. So the impact is growing and the impact is huge.
There from the President of the National Communication Council, George Bonkan Kalabukse. He is going to tell us what they are doing as the regulatory organ of communications in Cameroon. But before we go back to him, we're going to ask you to just give us snappily some of the misuses, how social media is misused. Just one example each, beginning with you, Desmond. I should also say here that behavior on social media and in the society is part of your job.
Thank you. A typical example of the misuse of social media has been largely in Cameroon, the sharing of misinformation, but also questions of hate that we've seen on daily basis. But I will tell you that beyond hate speech, which is being actually propagated on the social media, misinformation and even disinformation that we're seeing a lot of people taking to the social media to share private content of other persons, and as well as violence. We can give you examples on this all day long to show how someone insults or removes humanity from another person based on their background, on their tribe, on their language, on their gender. Someone actually taking a story and twisting it to fit their own social or economic or even political agenda. We're seeing it on daily basis, but we are also seeing people who snap pornographic content and put on the social media.
Actually misuse and they blackmail some people using such pornographic or some other stuff. You started by talking about hate. I know you are the national coordinator of the NGO Defy Hate Speech Now. For all this while you've been doing, have you measured to see some people think that hate speech is instead increasing, is not decreasing in Cameroon.
Thank you, Killian. I think that they might not be wrong, but before we started with a baseline study of what hate speech in Cameroon was. And when we look at the numbers today, we discover that in as much as we see an increase in hate speech on the internet, we are understanding also that the number of people using the internet has increased. We're deploying actions and there is an increase, but something we've discovered is that people who even share hate now are much more conscious of the dangers that hate speech can cause to the community. Yes, we're seeing a steady increase because more people are connected on these different platforms, but yes, we're seeing also an increase in consciousness and countermeasures, not only by us, but by the public, but also by people in the media.
Thank you very much. That was, by the way, we are on examples of misuse of social media. Ivo.
Yes, Killian, one very dangerous example that I've always encountered as an online investigator is fake identity. It's very dangerous. When you go on those social medias, what you see is funny names, and the people sitting behind are different from the names that they are putting in front. At times, they even take the names of ministers and put on social media, on Facebook, and write to you. Then you'll be surprised, like, why is the minister of this ministry writing to me?
And if you are not careful?
And if you are not careful, you jump into it, and at the end of the day, you are a victim.
Thank you very much for that example. I am going to end with Dr. Winfred, who is a technical advisor and telecommunications expert in Ministry of Post and Telecommunication. I'll go through you, Emmanuel von Ban, an example of misuse of social media.
Yeah, we have what we call sextortion. That's actually getting people's nude pictures and then commanding them to actually pay some ransom.
That's blackmailing them. That's what
that is it. We've also have stalking. That is actually issue of actually following up people with messages that actually can make them feel uncomfortable, or with actions. It could be comments or posts that make them feel very uncomfortable and very unsafe. So I think that these are some of the misuse that among many.
Thank you very much. Just one before we ask you for regulation. Just one other misuse, Dr. Winfred.
All the misuses will be classified as disinformation or information. But one of the key things I would say is misuse of social media is time wastage. You can find young people on this media the whole day, which is not productive. You can be on social media being productive, but what we see as the use of social media is not productive at all. If they were spending that time and being productive, it is very important. Another thing that I see misuse are fake prophecies. You will see fake pastors today, they will use social media. Someone has been healed here, someone has been done that, and then they influence public opinion, proving themselves to be very powerful, which is not the case. And then people fail to use medical centers thinking that there's some miracle somewhere that one pastor will do. So these are some of the misuses of social media.
Yes, thank you very much. We're going to start the next question, which will be regulating how to regulate social media. We're going to start with the president of the National Communication Council, and we just ask, what are the measures they put in place to regulate social media? Let us listen to his answer, and we take the debate after that.
That is a wide and complex question because, first of all, at the level of Cameroon, we don't have any laws that guide us in trying to regulate social media content. Two, it's a broad and complex subject in the sense that we are not the owners of the platforms. That is the superhighway on which this information goes. Thirdly, we have no control over the people who use the social media. What we have is the capacity of helping people to understand, and we think that we do that with non-governmental organizations and other interested parties. First of all, educating the public on the use of the social media. Secondly, still educating the public on discriminatory exploitation of social media publications. Thirdly, to be able to concert with non-governmental organizations who also come in the sensitization process. Thirdly, to be able to try as much as we can to educate the public through seminars and workshops. And fourthly, draw the attention of media professionals to be aggressive on the social media and to be very present as well on the social media so that they can provide alternative sources of information.
Wow. You listen to him. At the level of the National Communication Council, they don't have social media right there on a kind of straightforward laws that's within his organization to control social media. That's what he said. Let me start with you, Mr. Technical Advisor, Director, Telecommunication Expert.
He's right somehow, but there are laws. With the first law we have is the law on cyber security and cyber criminality, which outlines how the crimes online can be committed and the punishments that come with it. Recently, the law also on child protection online was promulgated by the National Assembly. So we now have a charter of protection of child online and the people with vulnerabilities that also outlines some of the key elements that are within the social media sphere. However, I think what the President of the Communication Council is saying is something that moves towards looking at personal data and personal protection. And that law is already in gestation. It should go to Parliament anytime. We've outlined all the elements that are within the protection of data, of personal data, abuses that can occur within the social media, which now takes what is out of the law on cyber security, what is on the Charter Online, to put on what we call data protection law, the law on data protection. That will come now to fill the void that the President would have been saying, and that will outline all the key elements. And in the law, there is a data commissioner. The data commissioner will actually be looking through these abuses, and people should complain to them. That will investigate and then bring that to the courts. Because one of the problems we are having today is people don't complain. If you insult me online, I know that it's you, I can just leave it, or I develop another hatred for you rather than taking it to the courts. The law is there, so people should be able to complain so that you push up the rate of prosecution.
To complain is simple to say. Before I come back to you, that people should complain. To whom should they complain?
The first one, I will say, the first starting point is ANTIC. ANTIC is the government agency that is responsible for that, and it's very easy to contact them. You can call them on 8202. You will get them, and they will start working with you. There is also the National Gendarmerie and the National Police, especially the Judicial Police and the National Gendarmerie, what's called the SED. These are specialized organs that if you complain to them about something, they have the tools that they can start investigating, and the three of them work together in a way that they should be able to pinpoint what is happening. However, there's one thing which has to be defined by the law. When we talk of hate speech, what exactly is hate speech? What to you might be hate speech, to me it's a normal discussion. And that is where the National Council is supposed to come in, or some other organization supposed to come in, to start defining what is hate speech, what is unacceptable behavior, what is it? Because those are the things. I'll take, for example, if we talk about gay and lesbianism, to us here it looks strange.
It's
a crime. It's out of law.
Yes.
But in the West, that's what's even promoted by even politicians, by the governments. So it is about us sitting down, first of all, to define what we consider as ills. And those ills will take what is in real life, mix it with what happens online, to be able to say what can constitute prosecution for the prosecutors to be able to to actually prosecute those who go against. So that's the gray area which I think the president was also talking about. We need to know what is hate speech.
Now, talking about hate speech, there's somebody here who knows, who has defined what is hate speech. We're not going to divert for long. Just to answer that question, what do we put into hate speech, Desmond?
It's, I would say, contextually to Cameroon, and I'm happy that Mr. Technical Advisor is bringing it back to book, is any form of communication, written, verbal, artistic, any way that you can communicate with another person in trying to remove humanity from the person based on particular characteristics or criteria. And one of them you just cited there, which I don't want to go into. If locally in Cameroon we see it is wrong to actually look at somebody from their tribal or their facial or the gender perspective, and you actually attack that person, you try to denigrate that person, you want to make them feel bad, you want to actually make them feel less humans because of that identity. We're talking here of communication that is hateful in this context. And I must say, Killian, that there is no universally accepted definition, but countries and organizations are using, and it's also a call for me to call on authorities like Mr. Technical Advisor is saying, to actually sit down with people and let's define what is hateful to us as Cameroonians. Let's not look at Cameroon from a perspective from a Western.
Thank you. I think we got that now. Ivan, we're talking about regulation, and we are told that it's very difficult to regulate this area. You are a digital forensics expert. That is, you do on the digital platform what the forensics police do. That is a crime that is committed here. There's no trace, seemingly, apparently, but they come here, they're going to bring some evidence that's going to track the culprits and bring them to book. So, the difficult to control social media misuse?
Killian, the difficulty to control is at the level of the regulations. Everything is under the regulations. The difficulty first is because you talk of freedom of speech, and the platform or the social media is a communication platform. If you go there and stop people from communicating without a clear regulation that does that, you are affecting their freedom. So today you heard the president saying it is difficult. There is nothing that is technically difficult.
Okay. Technically speaking, what can you do to track down people who misuse social media? Please tell us.
Okay. From our experience, we started some activities on Learning Aid Network, which is an association that we created after discovering that the regulations were bouncing back on the freedom of speech. That's the first step. The second step, we discovered that people don't complain. As our technical advisor was saying, people don't complain. You go online, you discover that somebody insulted you, you continue in the conversation. No, you should complain. If when a thief
now they know that they should
house,
complain to Antique, to the police, to the gendarmerie.
That is not enough. I will say it.
Okay.
That is not enough. You heard the president saying they need to go out for non-governmental organizations.
Yeah.
That's why we are proposing to any institution, be it Antique, be it the National Council of Communication, the services to instruct Cameroonians on what to do. First, when you are abused, and secondly, how to avoid being abused.
Can you be a facilitating organization to those who are misused from what you are, who are abused on social media? Is that where you're
Yes, Killian, I have been saying this over and over, singing over and over. They know me, for those that are seeing me. I've been knocking on these doors, and I will continue knocking until I can help as many Cameroonians as possible.
So to get to you, if somebody is abused on social media, the person, while going to the police, can also seek consultancy from you?
Killian, practically what we do today is we get those that are abused, we help them on how to complain.
Yes.
The first thing to do is you need to complain, because there is no right for any forensic expert, investigator to get into privacy without a well-notified authorization.
Public administration,
Exactly.
public authorities.
Yeah.
So how do we get to you? As we speak, there is certainly someone who is going through the stress of being hacked or going through a kind of blackmail on social media. How do we get to you?
We are.
No, it's
Yes.
not advert. This is
Okay.
for public
For public
service.
for public service, Lillian, I am in Cameroon for a moment, and you have my numbers. We have an office in Douala where we receive all those that have been abused and those that want to prevent themselves. But the first advice I'll give every Cameroonian is when you get a new mobile phone, you can get a tracker. It's there. You can get a tracker, or you can register your email number from the mobile phone. This is the number that permits any operator to track that phone, be it off or on.
Yes, thank you very much. I like the technical way you've escaped. The question I ask you, since so many press viewers know me so well, if you are a victim of any such behavior on social media, come through me. I will get you to Ivo and he could help you. Come through me. I will get to the technical advisor in the Ministry of Post and Telecommunications. They will tell you exactly what to do.
And
Yes.
for that, Killian, I'll just add something. Technically, it is not difficult to track and hold down these guys. The thing is, when you hold them one next, it is the instruments of regulation, the instruments that are there that are critical. But remember, also as he was saying, the internet was created by people who are anti-institutional.
Okay.
So the more you try to institutionalize the internet, the more you will have repression by those who actually created internet.
Exactly.
Because internet was created as a means of communication for people who could not communicate through the normal traditional channels, which then developed into a full-blown social thing. So therefore, there are these contrasting forces. As I said, the freedom of speech, that people believe you can say anything no matter what it is. But institutionally, you cannot say anything the way it is. So you have those forces. So that is when it comes into accepting what is prosecutable, and then technically everything can be. We can track anybody anywhere, wherever they are, can be tracked. But the question is, what do you do with them when you get them arrested?
No, that question. Let's arrest them first thing, and the rest will follow. I think so.
To arrest, law must permit you to arrest.
Well, he is here close to Antique, supervising Antique, I should say. Antique is connected to Interpol, so there is just no boundary to say that you can run away around the world as a criminal. You can always be tracked. Yes, Desmond, before I come to you, let us know from the President of National Communication Council whether he has heard in his institution some of the cases of people who misuse social media, and what are the sanctions he probably meted on those people. Let us listen to him again.
We have had several cases brought to the level of the National Communication Council, but the interesting thing is that for now, our rules don't allow us to handle social media publications because we deal with the traditional media organs. That's where, but if we have something that appears in the social media and is picked up by a traditional media organ, we can now pick on that traditional media organ and deal with it and sanction it. But we have had complaints, but we've not been able to deal conclusively with the complaints because we don't deal with the social media. It's difficult to put a finger on social media publications, and sometimes when they come, you don't know who to accuse or who to answer, who to call to answer for the accusations that has been brought to the National Communication Council.
Okay, good to hear. Yes, Desmond, reaction to that before you come up with what you wanted to say.
I would say that the president has understood the challenge that it is with regulating social media. who do you regulate and how do you regulate? A platform created in California that is existing in Cameroon, you have a law that only limits itself to the sovereignty of this nation here. But this platform infiltrates and penetrates the sovereignty of the country and actually interacts with the people. Even other people and institutions here have adopted them. I still even see, permit me use this, government offices with emails using other domain names, whereas we have a national domain name that we use. Definitely, they would have to wait for it to get to the mainstream media before we do. So there is this symbiotic relationship between what is happening on the social media and what is happening on the mainstream media before regulators nationally can intervene. And at times we've seen them. At the National Communications Council, they say, no, we collected this information from the social media, so go after the person actually propagating this information. And quite quickly, Killian, complain. Yes, we advocate that people should complain. But we don't live in space. We live in Cameroon, we live in neighborhoods, we live in families where people complain, and for 4, 5, 6 months, nothing is coming because the police is saying we are overwhelmed. We're seeing also, Antique actually told us very clearly, we escalate reports and it's for the police to act. This is the results we deposit at the level of the police and the gendarmerie. Let them act. And I'm calling on also state councils. There are acts that are committed against the law that are actually there online. It is for you to watch for public interest.
Public interest.
Not to wait for someone to complain.
Thank you very much. There's something which you've said, that tons and tons of complaints. The police and the gendarmerie, they are overwhelmed. We have the technical advisor and telecommunications expert from the Ministry of Post and Telecommunications. You are aware you have to make citizens feel satisfied, attended to when they complain, so that they should have confidence, they should have trust, and probably that's why they don't complain.
Exactly. That's why the minister has been taking a national tour on sensitization of Cameroonians about the civic use of the internet. And in that sensitization, she is advocating a national coalition. And a national coalition will bring in experts like forensic scientists and different people to actually look at how do we make the social media safer for everyone. Because one of the things that happens on social media is the ignorance of the user. If you are ignorant, it's like you walk into a car and start driving. You don't know all the physical forces that work on a car. You're going to crash. And social media came. We started this program by saying how powerful it is. You take a very powerful tool, you put it in the hands of somebody who is actually ignorant about it. And unfortunately, you even have real public officials who are so ignorant about the ills of social media. And that in itself requires the first phase, which is sensitization. How dangerous is it? How can you go online safer? You know, you have a phone that can collect every data of your life, every picture that you have taken in your life is somewhere that you have no control over it.
Too dangerous.
So now it starts telling you, what type of pictures do I take? Honestly, to be safe is not even to go there, and not to go there you lose it. If you go online, you have to moderate your behavior. The type of picture you take, the speeches you make, what you do, if you do them in a careless manner, be sure it's out there, and someday someone's going to use it against you. So the first phase of defense is actually sensitization, understanding the tool you have in front of you, which is the phone or your computer or your laptop. If you understand it, there's so many millions and millions of safety features there that we don't even know about, and we don't use it.
Yes, just in 45 minutes, let our viewers know for how long the pictures, the data they put on out there in the cloud or in their net space, for how long does it stay?
Indefinite.
There's
nothing you clean on your phone or anything that goes away, except that you've never been connected onto the internet. Once you've been connected to the internet, everything you delete stays somewhere.
This is dangerous.
It is absolutely dangerous. That tells you how powerful the internet is. If you just take your phone one day and go to Google and just say Google Photos, one of the things it does, it collects even where you were with that photo, where you took the photo. And this, you accept it because Google asks you when you want to subscribe to Google. It says, we will collect data from you, and because you need the service, you say yes. Yes, when you say yes, it collects it, it stores it. The danger, he'll tell you, we will protect your data. But Google is also hacked like any other thing. And once they get hacked, then that data becomes available to whoever. And your detractors will use it for whatever reason.
Thank you for that information. Very useful, Emma. We are going out. You are telling us, like the director is also saying, you can, at your personal level, IT practitioner, track someone who has hacked people and is using their phone.
Yeah, they are they are moderate tools that we could actually train ourselves in to be able to because the truth is that there are a good number of people who conduct certain acts, but they don't know that they are actually means by which they could be followed up, and they just do it out of ignorance. And maybe before I go further, I just want to, because for some time now, since this actually started evolving and becoming a very serious threat, I've really been wishing that the Ministry of Posts and Telecommunication can work with our education ministries on creating a course that can go through all the schools, be it primary and all of that, on digital citizenship, because it is very, very important that we train our citizens on the decent use of social media and the digital space. Because I think that it's going to really help us in bringing down, because in other countries people already are beginning to be conscious that the social media is not actually an abstract space, that is actually a space that whatever we do there we could actually be chasing. So it will be very, very important if this
stays
that is it. So
data center indefinitely. Yes, Ivo. Behavior, that is where we are facing out.
Behavior, that is where everything lies. Because behind any crime, there is a criminal. And behind any peaceful person, there is a safe person. That's why in Learning Aid Network, we talk of digital safety. That stops you, trains you on how to get hurt. So when you see all these things, we talk of Google. Google is a business unit. They don't force anybody to go and log on to Google. They create their tools, create their solutions. Then we need it because we don't have our own. So the encouragement here is there are so many sleeping projects for young ITians that want to work on solutions like Google. We have data centers in Cameroon. Camtel has a data center to have their softwares embedded into those data centers.
Yes.
So one thing, just before, so that the telespectators can be clarified, one thing I want to put clear here is, when you have a criminal mindset, you will definitely go for international solutions, because you know that they will difficultly trace them. But if I want to save myself, I know that my pictures are going to be kept somewhere where I have no control. I rather keep it in my country.
Okay, very good. Now, are you telling us that since it's very dangerous using phones, people should have passwords, because I can keep my phone here, go out there, another person takes it and does something in my name?
Yes, of course, Kylian. The first level of the training is to protect your phone by password.
Okay.
When you get a phone, there is every option that gives you password by facial, password by fingerprint, and password by fingers, by numbers, digits. So
Thank
you
you
have
very
those
much.
options.
Yes, Desmond, behavior. That is your area of specialty.
Yes, the first thing I would say here is that a lot of us go on social media without reading the community standards of the different social media platforms. And that's why some people read the community standards and say, hey, look, I don't want to share this content, and decide to desist from it. Some even go share the content before discovering that the platform in question actually bans this kind of behavior on that platform. Also, I keep insisting that there is nothing that actually just surfaces online. We start thinking about it, we see something, and someone actually brings it closer and closer online. So yes, behaviors need to change. We need to change the way we look at things, but we need to also to change the way we interact with people online.
Yes, we're going to almost at the end of the program. Your last word, Dr. Winfred.
Thank you very much. I think Emmanuel talked about digital citizenship. The Ministry of Posts and Telecommunications has actually produced so many leaflets that are being posted almost everywhere to enable people to understand the basics of life, of being safe online. But what I'll advise every person that is an internet user is take some time. You can call and you can go to any organization that is teaching on how to be safe online and protect yourself, and also be able to complain when there's a problem. Whilst the government is working on all the different tools that will lead to the regulation, but also understand that the regulation is not as easy as it may sound, as the president said.
Thank you very much, and that is exactly what we were asking on this program today. How better is it to regulate social media, or why is it difficult to regulate social media? You listened and watch that is Dr. Winfred Fu, who is the technical advisor, telecommunications expert in the Ministry of Telecommunications. We also heard from Emmanuel, publisher of Astute newspaper, which is basically an online newspaper. We had Ivor Babila Nyamdi, who is a digital forensics expert. Thank you very much. And we also had Ngala Desmond Ngala, who is a consultant on social media use. Gentlemen, it was our pleasure as a production team of Press Hour to have you on the set today. Thank you very much for your contribution. Thank you also, ladies and gentlemen, for giving us your time. If you miss out on anything on this program from the beginning, you have a full rebroadcast on Monday at 2:30. Have a good day.